All right. All right. All right. Greetings. Welcome back to Black Bear News, where everything is connected. How y'all doing? Good to see you. Good to be here. We're live on Callin, Rockfin, and YouTube and Twitter. You want to watch the show on Twitter? We're live on Twitter. I'm going over to Twitter. There I am. I'm on Twitter. I'm a broadcasting on Twitter. Look, Ma, I made it. Dre Guy on Rockfin says, morning all, it appears that science, technology, and mechanization is advancing to the point of inadvertent extinction of Earth life. That's a scary link. Denver. Okay. Don't have time to read this right away, but I'm just kind of glancing at it. Looks interesting. All right. Well, it's another warm one today. Here, where I'm at. And it's going to remain so for the immediate future. I mean, it's not out of the realm of weather we get in Southern California. Definitely have had warm Octobers. Looks like it might start cooling off just a little bit this week. After maybe tomorrow or Monday. So that'll be a welcome respite. But not out of the realm, but man, that sun is hot. That sun is hot. Supremo, yes, we're going to look at that. Give me a second, guys. I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that break. There is the most amazing, big, beautiful orange spider floating in the sky in my backyard. Woke up this morning, went outdoors, outside, and there's this gigantic web stretched across my backyard area, and there's an orange spider in the middle of it, just hovering there, like, come on, I need something to eat today. I'm hungry. Well, good to see all you here. Okay, so yes, we're going to talk about many things. Where to start? Let's just start at the beginning. We were talking about the ozone layer yesterday, weren't we? I was talking about the untruthfulness of the idea that all the nations of the world came together, limited the release of chlorofluorocarbons, and fixed the ozone layer. It was a great success. Humanity has done it again. Excuse me. No, not really. Actually, humanity has not done it. It's one of those kind of things that it's one of those stories that I really get upset when I hear it, when I hear it referenced in articles. The nations of the world came together, decades ago to fix the hole in the ozone layer, and look at how successful that was. It was not successful. we're getting, I already talked about this the other day, but there are major holes in the ozone layer still. A massive hole over Antarctica opens up every year. Every year. It's seasonal. And people in Australia, New Zealand, and southern, very southern lying lands have to be, extremely aware and careful around this ozone hole. Again, we are experiencing high levels of UV almost everywhere on the planet. And, just look at your daily UV readings and go, why is it high all the time? Why is it always extremely high all the time? It is always extremely high all the time. That's because the ozone layer is not functioning the way it should. It is not repaired on any level. So, when you see that reference somewhere, or if you still believe that, just, understand that is a falsehood that they are foisting upon the masses in order to make them feel good about something. We did not do that. Kind of like the falsehood about all the countries of the earth getting together and, figuring out how we're going to stop climate change. And, we've gotten together every single year and had conferences, and everybody had a really, felt really great about these papers they wrote and stuff. And we are really taking that climate change seriously. No, we are not doing, we're barely lifting a finger in the face of what is really needed, is really necessary. Are we doing something? Sure, something, but most of it is a lot of talking, and most of it is a lot of misinformation and misdirection. Wolf spider? I don't know if it's a wolf spider. It's a big one. It's really pretty. It's very orange. Anyway, so let's look at this. One of the biggest on record. Ozone hole bigger than North America opens up above Antarctica. The recently measured ozone hole over Antarctica. This is from Poppy, by the way. Thank you, Poppy, for all the posts. Poppy sent me some really good stuff today, so we'll be covering a lot of that. Recently measured ozone hole over Antarctica, as detected by the Copernicus Sentinel-5P satellite, is one of the largest on record, according to a report from the European Space Agency. And the hole reached an astonishing 26 million square kilometers on September 16th, 2023, approximately 3 times the size of Brazil. And there was one over the Arctic that opened up, I believe, fairly recently. I'm sorry, you can't see that. Well, yes, you can see that. So we're not out of the woods. We're definitely, as regards to climate change and the IPCC and people getting together and that video I played of Judith Curry yesterday talking about ClimateGate. She referenced ClimateGate, which I think references emails that suggest that climate scientists were trying to exaggerate global warming. Okay. Maybe. But what a lot of scientists who know their stuff, many, not one lady running around on right-wing television, but many climate scientists over the last 10 to 15 years have suggested that it's, and there are other people that are collating this information, putting it all together and presenting it as here we are here now, kind of cliff notes of climate change. The people that really have their finger on the pulse of what's happening with climate change understand that it is far, far worse than the IPCC and these other, major bodies are willing to willing to let on, willing to come to grips with. That's what the scientists that really understand what's going on, that's what they're saying about this. It's not good. We're not in a good place. I don't know why exaggerating that would be helpful. I mean, you have people who are telling the truth about climate change being, fired, being let go of their jobs, being kicked off of Twitter, being being shunned, being pushed away, being called names like Dr. Death and all kinds of things. This is what real climate scientists are saying, and the things that are happening to them are like, be very quiet. We don't like what you're saying. Please do not continue telling the truth about what's really going on. And Judith Curry also mentioned something about, seeking fame and fortune is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard out of somebody's mouth, because climate scientists are not famous, for one thing. Who's famous? Name me one person that's a famous climate scientist that, has a household name and everybody knows who he is. There's no famous. There's no fortune. There is no fortune and fame in climate change. So it is one of those silly things, like on the right wing when they call everything bad communist. It's like, you don't even know what communism means. So, kindly stop using that word, because you just don't even know what it means. And you're trying to label things that are not communist. Like, you guys don't even understand anything about climate change whatsoever. And you're listening to a woman that's telling you that well, if I say the right thing about climate change, I will get fame and fortune. You don't even understand that nobody wants to hear it. Nobody cares. Nobody really wants to hear about climate change. There's no fame and fortune in climate change. This woman's position is ridiculous. Like, at every single level, it is the most ridiculous thing. If you really want to know what this person actually sounds like. But to a particular ideological bent. Oh, well, yeah, of course. That's what they're doing. It would be like, on the flip side, all the doctors and the scientists out there that are against the mainstream COVID narrative that the government and CDC is putting, all the ones that are calling the COVID narrative, the falseness of the COVID narrative into question, are losing their licenses, or being shunned, or being kicked off of Twitter, or being kicked off of YouTube, and being, RFK Jr. also is in there. It would be like saying that those people are out there just seeking fame and fortune, telling the truth and stuff about stuff. That's how ridiculous this person sounds. But, to people that don't know any better, it sounds like it makes sense. I don't know. Anyways. Schulte, it's a warm one where you're at, yeah? It is very warm here. It's been very, very almost claustrophobically hot. Anyways, let's keep going. I'm covering this. This is Leon Simons, I guess. Simons. This is so crazy. The northern hemisphere used to radiate more heat to space than it absorbed from the sun. The difference was made up for by heat transported north from the southern hemisphere through mainly the Atlantic oceans and atmosphere. Watts per square meter. I don't even know what that number is. I'm sorry. 255 trillion m squared. Somebody help me out there with that. I don't know what that means. So the upshot is the northern hemisphere is absorbing more heat than it is radiating. That's bad. Around 2014, the amount of absorbed solar radiation started to rapidly increase, surpassing outgoing long-wave thermal or IR radiation to space, leading to a positive energy imbalance of the northern hemisphere around 2014. So more heat was absorbed from the sun than radiated to space, possibly also reducing heat transported from the southern to the northern hemisphere and leaving more to, e.g., melt Antarctic sea ice. In recent years, this energy imbalance has been increasing further as air pollution and cloud cover decreased, and the amount of sunlight reflected back to space decreased. Air pollution, right? Global dimming effect, cloud cover. Oh, cloud cover, you say. That is where the geoengineering comes in, by the way. That is, you might wonder what's in the stuff in the trails that you see, the contrails. But those contrails turn into long-lasting cloud cover or, filter some of the sun reaching the earth. That is the ultimate goal. It's just SRM, solar radiation management. By creating cloud cover and or reflecting, it's already happening. That's what that is. So, if you can't see it, if you see it with your own eyes and you're like, no, that can't possibly be something that somebody's putting up there. I don't know. Look again. They don't do it as much now because people are calling it out too much, right? People are looking up at the sky and going, I see what you're doing. And they see that, they know that people are talking about it. And so they can't necessarily keep trying to get away with it without. Oh, it's Schulte's birthday. Hey, happy birthday, Schulte. Nice. Excellent. Hope you have a great birthday. Anyways, before I get off on a tangent, because in recent years, this energy imbalance has been increasing further as air pollution and cloud cover decreased and the amount of sunlight reflected back to space decreased. Because outgoing heat radiation was not increasing as much. The balance can be restored or made negative again in two ways. Increasing outgoing long-wave radiation. For that, temperatures of the northern hemisphere need to increase, which is happening at the moment. That's interesting. So he's saying if it gets hotter, the getting hotter will help restore the energy imbalance. Or increasing air pollution and cloud cover to reflect more sunlight to space. Neither of these are policy recommendations. We are between a rock and a hard place. People need to be aware of the situation. So they already have been increasing cloud cover over certain areas. We know that because you can see that with your own eyes. And I'm not going to have arguments about it. I'm not going to argue with people who can't put two and two together. Anyways. It's also not a wild idea, okay? They already know how it works. They've been studying it for decades. There's a thing called weather warfare, and there's I'm not even going to go off on a tangent, but what I'm talking about specifically about creating cloud cover as an SRM management, we already know they understand fully how this system works and how to implement it, and the idea that they're like, well, we're going to try a trial balloon in Sweden or in Mexico or something and just see how it works. That whole thing is just, again, just a really big farce, a huge farce to make you believe like they aren't already doing it. They don't need your consent for anything, really, if they can get away with it. And they don't, and they've been doing it for a long time. So it's not, if you just pay attention, it's not a crazy idea if you pay attention. If you don't look up at the sky and you don't pay attention and you just go, what are you talking about? That's insane. I don't know. Maybe just open your eyes. But again, it's harder to do because people call it out a lot more. Which is why it's good if you're a part of the focus group, and you are, and you call out these things, when you see them or when they happen. It makes it harder for the people in charge to get away with these kinds of things. Out in the open, right? And they're, maybe we should roll this back. Oh, I see they're paying attention. Jeez, maybe we shouldn't do that anymore. But there's also the global dimming question, which is, somewhat more scientifically plausible. I don't know why, but it's something that climate scientists are more willing to admit is happening or is a thing, which is global dimming, which is if you take particulates out of the air, if you stop burning the coal or the steam, the ship bunker fuel, or if you take, airplanes out of the sky all of a sudden, like 9/11, you get a huge spike in temperature related to the lack of the aerosol particles. That, somehow that's scientifically plausible, but contrails are not. I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird thing to me. But anyways, so and this and that, right? Not either or, we got to have it, we ain't human if we don't have the black and white thinking. Oh, it's either this way or that. That's totally ridiculous, but this is totally true. It's either this or that. And to consider that both of these things happen at once is just too much for my brain to handle. Oh my God, what will I do? Consider that both of them could be happening. Global dimming and geoengineering. Anyways, September, from The Guardian, science stunned by planet's record. September heat. Look at this. We're getting more of these insane things that look like, let's see if we can find this. We're getting these insane spikes in the temperature readings that look like, stock charts gone wild. Let's see. Hold on, I'm just trying to read through this, so. That's not helpful. Anyways, we'll go back to this. Jeff McFarland says The Guardian will print a hopium article saying it's not too late for 1.5C soon, maybe tomorrow. And Steve Austin says we'll be able to guess who is quoted, right? We know who that is. Sorry about that. I'm just scrolling through these comments, and I apologize. Hold on. Let's see. I'm just trying to find the exact article. Oh, maybe this is it. No. This is an editorial. I'm trying to find the exact. Does anybody have the the actual article? Can't freaking see it. Maybe this is it. Global temperature soared to new record in September. Scientists are stunned by the hottest September on record. Let's see if we can bring this up. Jesus. Guardian is so tiresome with their subscribe to view this article. I'm already subscribed, fool. Uh, global temperature set a new record in September by a huge margin, beating the previous record for the month by 0.5 C. 0.5 C, the largest jump in temperature ever seen. The hottest September on record follows the hottest August and the hottest July on record, with the latter being the hottest month ever recorded. September was, in my professional opinions, both of them. This is Zeke Hosfather, of all people. September was, in my professional opinion as a climate scientist, absolutely gobsmackingly bananas. But never fear, if we just get enough electrification going and electric cars and wind turbines and solar panels, we will stay firmly under one. We'll stay under 1.5 C, and by 2070. The high temperatures have been driven by heat waves and wildfires across the world, with the UK, France, Germany, and Poland reporting record highs. The heat is a result of the continuing high levels of carbon dioxide emissions combined with a rapid flip of El Nino, which releases ocean heat and drives up temperatures. 2023 is on track to be the warmest year and about 1.4 C above pre-industrial average temperatures. Okay. Okay. What's up? Y'all watching on Twitter? Anybody? Had actually quite a few viewers on Twitter yesterday, so that's cool. We'll see. I don't know if people are actually watching on Twitter and I can't see them or what. But got people on Rockfin. How you doing? Okay. Let me see if I can. There we go. Let's see if they'll give us a. Huh. Well, this is saying that we're only at 1 C, I guess. This graph right on the front here is just saying, that's funny. That's interesting. That's an interesting way to put it. So if you were looking at this, if you were looking at this cover, this picture, this graph that's on the cover, part of this article, this puts us at 1 C or below 1 C. Oh, we're almost there to 1 C. That's misleading, don't you think? September 2023 was the warmest ever, and they're showing it as below 1 C. No, that is untrue. Why would you do that, Guardian? Why would you do that? Is it 1 C since 1980? Is that what it is? Maybe I'm just not reading the graph well. You're right, Poppy. No, 1940. I guess that's the baseline. I don't know. No, it's not 1 C since 1980. This goes to 1940, but it's unclear when the start is, because you could just be taking a piece of the graph. I'm thinking. I don't know. I'm having problems pushing the buttons correctly on this. Is this it? This is it. I mean, this particular thing goes back to 1940. It's still misleading because pretty much the consensus on warming, across the scientific world is that we've already talked about hitting 1.5. So why, I don't know why they would run that on the, again, well, I know why, because you don't want to, you want people to go, oh, it's almost at 1. You know, that if that's all they're going to see, oh, look at that. That's crazy. We're almost at 1. Well, let me know when we get to 1.5 or 2. No, we're at 1.5. We're at 1.5. So again, for the people out there that are trying to, that keep, you know, wanting to push out the idea that they're trying to scare you with the too much climate change, they are not. They're doing the opposite. They're trying to downplay something that you should absolutely be afraid of. There are some things you should not be afraid of. There are some things that they try to pump the fear into you in order to get people to run around like crazy, like chickens with their heads cut off. Like, oh my God, what's going to happen in the world? The world. No, I don't want to. You know, there are things that they totally pump out there to make you, you know, sit under your blankets at night in bed. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. If Putin takes over Europe, then what? You know, sure. There are plenty of things that they give, you know, false credence to, but no, climate change is not it. Sorry, you're wrong. You don't even know what's happening. Why are you commenting on climate change? You don't even know what's happening. You don't even care to even look at the science. Why are you commenting? What's really happening is they're trying to downplay something you should absolutely be, you know, extremely afraid of. It's okay. It's okay. You know, but again, when you figure it out or when it comes to you, you know, that like, oh, oh, that is really happening. I mean, it won't matter anyways. We'll be so far down the road that you'll be like, well, okay. Sure. Surely everything will be fine. Anyways, this is the thing that you actually should be afraid of. And you know, the reverse is true. They're actually not letting you know what's happening. They're not giving you the full scope of the problem. They don't really want you to know why. Why would they do that? Because they want business as usual to continue for as long as possible. They want people to keep buying into the system. They want people to keep going like, everything's cool, everything's fine. I got my 401k, I got my, you know, my retirement plan. I got, you know, my mortgage to pay, and I got I got these long-term plans, and, you know, going to school, going to get a good career. And like, you know, all those things are great. I'm not like actually, you know, suggesting people stop doing those things. It's just that you need to buy into the system and into the, you know, a stable future in order to, you know, really kind of wholeheartedly do those things. I would think. So if people felt, you know, on a mass level, if people felt like, oh, things are kind of not going in a great direction, then, you know, and I don't really want to be the person to tell. I feel like I don't want to be the person to say that. I don't want to contribute to anybody's doom, honestly. I feel like I'm trying to be realistic and to encourage others to be realistic too, but I don't know. Well, we're entering into a time of great confusion. So, and you know, whatever you need to do to not be so confused. Who am I to say? Who am I to tell people how to think about things or live their life? And I'm not here to suggest. You even listen to me. You know, if you want to listen, that's fine. You know, do what makes you happy. Go forward. Go forth with great vigor. Experience good things in your life. That's what I can suggest to you. Just, you know, experience joy, experience, you know, have good times, You know, if you need to get the money, and go, do whatever with it. I don't know. I'm not going to suggest not doing that. I'm just going to. I don't know. Because we're not prepared to make a shift. Not prepared to make the mental and emotional shift in order to really deal with this. And so we'll deal with it, when it gets bad enough. And that's how humans operate. I operate in that way a lot in my personal life, where I just don't deal with things until they get, really bad. I'm embarrassed to say that's true of me. And humans as a collective often do the same thing. They just, you want to ignore things. You want to just continue, good times, having a good time. I'm just enjoying life. I want to feel comfortable. I don't, and when it gets really bad, then you go, oh, Jesus, really got to do something about this. That's how we collectively operate. It's true. Just look at history and just look at how things go. There are occasions when groups of people or, people, see into the future and see kind of the long-term implications of what's going on and make adjustments and have healthy outlook on how to approach these future things happening, and that there are examples of that too. Let's see. Poppy Davis says the warming is from negative 0.8 in 1940 to plus 0.8 in 2023. So it actually shows about 1.6 C warming. Yeah, you're right. It does. From low to high. Yep, absolutely. Good point, Poppy. Yeah. 1.6 C warming all the way from 1940 to now. That's a very short amount of time. In geological time, that is super short. Geological time is just totally a construct, bro. What about God? The world is really only 2,000 years old. We live in a firmament. If that is how you get your groove on, please get it on. I'm going to stop doing the show and just sit here for the next 30 minutes going. For the next 15 minutes. What? How would that be for entertainment? Would you like that? We totally love science unless we're ready to completely bail on science. Science is totally useful and awesome when we want to make a particular point, but when we want to poo-poo a particular point, we don't need science anymore. We just turn to God or something. It's just very handy. It's very handy to use science sometimes and then completely throw science out the other time. See how that works? You know who I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking to. And if I'm talking to you, cut it out. Just cut it out. Which one is it? I'm confused. Got a couple of minutes left in the show. Y'all, if you enjoy the show, you can support the show. And let me tell you, I need your support right now. My car broke down. For directed donations, greatly appreciated. PayPal.me/Kevin Sandblum. Venmo at Kevin Sandblum. Cash App at Red Llama Music. BuyMeACoffee.com/BlackBearNews. And so many, y'all support the show in so many ways, and I really appreciate you. But all the links are in the description box below. There's plenty of people that support me on Patreon. I appreciate y'all for doing that. Thank you. Yeah, Poppy. Yeah, it sucks. Well, it sucks because I use my car for my job, so now I'm out of a car and a job at the same time. Woohoo! Where it's a very temporary situation, but a little bit stressful. Little bit stressful. It's all right. It's all right. We're gonna make it through. Let me tell you how much I hate using my car for my job. How much I really hate it. Yeah. Let's see. We got more stories to cover here. Oh, this is the one. Whoo-wee. We got $17 trillion. Again, these numbers that I can't even really fit into my brain. Can't even fit this number into my brain. $17 trillion in U.S. Treasuries dumped by BRICS nations, China, Brazil, and Saudi Arabia in 1 month. Ooh, this is from October 6th. Oh, Lord. Remember the debt? Remember the debt bubble thing I showed you? I think it was yesterday or the day before about how our debt jumped $225 billion in one day. Oh, thank you, Poppy Davis. I appreciate it. Thank you. Very kind of you. For the car kitty donation. Yeah, I showed you the debt, the runaway debt bubble going on in the U.S. This surely cannot help. Numbers from the U.S. Treasury Department show China's ownership of Treasury securities dropped from $835 billion at the start of July to $821 billion at the end of the month, a decline of $13.6 billion. Meanwhile, fellow BRICS member Brazil pared its Treasury holdings by $2.7 billion. Saudi Arabia, where did they get this $17 trillion number from? Saudi Arabia trimmed its holdings from $1.8 billion to $1.9 billion. Is that what? $1.1 billion reduction? I think they have the numbers backward there. India saw its treasury trove. See what they did there? Shrink from $235 billion in June to $233 billion. United Arab Emirates reduced its treasury holdings by $300 million, etc. Where did they get the $17 billion from? Or $17 trillion, excuse me. Now, that was some super clickbait, huh? If you read the article. They said this happened in 1 month. Am I reading this number right? Or is it 17 billion? I think it's 17 billion. Sorry, guys. My bad. Human error. Kevin error. I'm starting to crackle. Okay, thanks. Ha. Am I back? Hopefully that fixed it. Thanks for letting me know. That's $17 billion. So thanks. Glad I could clear that up for myself. Yeah, because as I was reading, I was like, that does not equal $17 trillion. Let's go. This is in Scotland. Ooh, my computer's starting to really slow down. It's a hot one, and after a while, my computer is just like, no. But it's moving real slow. Dozens of hay bales are being washed down the River Array as flooding hits large parts of Scotland. Y'all see, can you see that? Sorry. It's a lot of flooding. Bye-bye hay bales. All right, let's get to this. Post. I want to try and get to all these posts, stories, etc. From David Ulrich via Poppy. Many scientists don't want to tell the truth about climate change. Here's why. I think that 1.5C has moved from an ambitious goal to magical thinking, and scientists are telling themselves a story to stave off despair. There's something else going on too. Scientists are shielding the public. This is exactly why the Guardian posted that graph the way they did. Shielding the public. They say we don't want people to give up, or we don't want the island nations to feel abandoned, or we don't want people to lose hope. This is paternalism, or maybe maternalism. Scientists are telling us a story to protect us from despair. That's exactly what's going on here. You think they're hyping it, and they aren't hyping it enough. They're only hyping it to the extent that they can, squeeze a donation to the Friends of the Earth or something, out of you, or Greenpeace or something. But they're not hyping it to the extent that it should be hyped, and it's unfortunate. Or they're just not telling the truth. You don't need to hype something that's true. You need to hide something that's true. That's what they're doing. But you don't need to hype it. You just need to say it. In March, the United Nations released a massive climate change report. The biggest takeaway: global warming will soon pass the oft-mentioned target of 1.5 degrees Celsius. Soon. Pass. We hit it. We've been there for 3 months this summer. Right? We're already there. We're there. We should just, they're trying to, at least in the last article I read, they said we're at 1.4. I guess that would be slightly more truthful. Just slightly. Honestly, as a climate journalist, I'm totally freaked. That totally freaked me out. The 1.5C number comes up a lot in climate change conversations. That's because around 1.5C, the climate starts hitting points of no return, like almost all the coral reefs die. Ice sheets in Antarctica and Greenland get scary wobbly. Permafrost starts to thaw faster than a popsicle on a hot sidewalk. Rising seas drown island nations. But the UN scientists were pretty clear 1.5C is coming. Or maybe it's just here and they don't want to tell you that yet. I don't know how you don't tell people we're at one, Well, golly, the months of June, July, August, September, or I don't know how many months we were at 1.5, but we surpassed 1.5C. We're at 1.5C. It is right now. It's not like, well, hopefully we can remain below. We're not remaining below. The way that temperature works, the way that the trend line works, I'll just spell it out for you very simply. The trend line is going like this. This is global temperatures going up, right? Or for, this way. Global temperatures going up. There are no mechanisms in place to keep to make those temperatures go down. Why? Because it's global warming. We have started a process in which the warming of the world is reinforcing more warming. That's why the line is going to go like this and continue to go like this. It's not going to stop going like this. There's nothing we're doing to stop it from going like this. We're not even stopping the things we're doing that made it go like this in the first place. We can't even stop burning fossil fuels. We can't even stop, destroying the earth as quickly as we possibly can. What would make you think that somehow we're going to go backwards from this trend line? What would make you think that? It ain't going to be net zero. Not even net zero would make that trend line go in the opposite direction. They don't want to tell you that either. This is the trend line. The trend line is going up. We are at 1.5 C. We've already touched 1.5 C. Even if we drop down below during the colder months, which sure, then we go back up again and we get a little bit higher. We're at 1.5 C. They should just be honest with people and say that's where we're at. Whoops, we missed it. We missed the mark. Now, we're not here. They're not 2030, not 2035, not 2050, not any. We blew it. We passed 1.5 C. That's it. End of story. Whoopsie. What are we going to do now? Probably don't have a chance of 2C either. So what are we going to do now? We need to be real about this kind of stuff. What are the things that need to take place to make this stop going like this? Let's start having these discussions if there's anything that's going to stop this. Anyways, but I digress. Why is overshooting 1.5 C inevitable? Oh, let's go back. Almost irrespective of our emissions and choices in the near term, we will probably reach 1.5 degrees in the first half of the next decade. Get out of here, dude. This clown, Irish climate scientist Peter Thorne. Peter Thorne, you are a clown. First half of next decade. Dude, stop lying. Stop lying to people. Stop lying to people, bro. Stop it. The real question, he said, is whether we overshoot 1.5 C by a little bit and come back down. I almost want to stop reading this right now because this I don't care. This guy's a climate scientist. He works at a college. He has some degrees or something, and he went to school for this dude is a certified clown. Just a straight up clown. Don't listen to anything this jackball has to say because he is a clown. We are at 1.5 C. Peter Thorne, we are at 1.5 C. It is 2023. Dude, stop lying to people. This makes me very angry. Why is overshooting 1.5 C inevitable? Physics. There's a nearly linear relationship between the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere and the average global temperature. More CO2 in the sky means a warmer world. It's like pouring water into a bucket. Keep pouring it in. Eventually, our carbon bucket will overflow in about 9 years. In about 9 years. Guys, we got 9 more years. About 9 more years, we could save the planet in 9 years. By the early to mid 2030s, we'll be living in a post 1.5 C world. Well, yeah, we'll probably be living in a post 2.0 C world by then, but I won't tell you that. I'm a climate scientist. Unless we quickly cut the carbon emissions to zero. Last I checked, that's not happening. This guy is this guy is a realist. He's super the realist. Last I checked, that wasn't happening. But will we get to 1.5 C and walk back down? Oh my God. Did I tell you this guy's a clown already? This guy's a clown. Straight clown. Stop lying. Why you always lying? Anybody know that song? Anyways. After this report came out, something weird happened. Unlike the blunt, is he blunt? Dr. Thorne, most climate scientists didn't change how they publicly spoke about 1.5C. Admitting defeat could risk demotivation, said Pascal Lamy, commissioner of the Climate Overshoot Commission. Or COC. I'm sorry. Whoops. Hold on. Rewind. Scientists kept saying things like, we need to act now to stay below 1.5, or it's getting harder, but still technically possible. Technically possible, like if aliens appear with magic tools that fix climate change. I felt like I was being gaslit by climate scientists. Thank you. Who wrote this? I wanted to know what was going on. Yes, we are being gaslit, even by the blunt Peter Thorne. I wanted to know what was going on, so I called Christina Dahl, the principal climate scientist of the Union of Concerned Scientists. Why doesn't anybody ever call like Guy McPherson? Nobody ever was like, man, I wanted to find out what was really happening. I thought I'd call Guy McPherson. They're like, oh, hell no. Thought I'd call Jem Bendell. Thought I'd call Paul Kingsnorth. Thought I'd call... No. Thought I'd call another equivocating climate scientist from a, something. She told me that staying under 1.5C is now largely unrealistic. Well, okay. Thanks, Christina. Why? Because we're already there. Did I mention we're already there? Did I mention we were already at 1.5C this year? I don't... Somebody explain to me how you stay below 1.5C when you're already at 1.5C. These people, we are living in a world of just ridiculousness, because people are running around telling you that something that is right in your face actually happening is not happening. That is high level gaslighting. The highest level gaslighting. Guys, we hit 1.5C a couple months this summer, but hopefully we can stay under 1.5C. Yeah, I think we're going to make it. Can I have this person's degree? Because I'm smarter than that Peter Thorne, I'm smarter than you. I'm definitely more honest than you, but I'm smarter than you, you clown. Give me your degree and go take a hike. Go serve people coffee somewhere where you can give somebody a nice smile and go, hope you have a good day. Because that's really what you're just trying to do with your messaging. I asked her, she added, like other climate scientists, I'm not ready to say that we have to give up on this goal. I asked her why. Why wouldn't she just give it to me straight? And she told me a story that I found revelatory. Here it is, edited. I've got 2 kids and mornings are busy, and there are mornings when you are running behind and you leave the house knowing that your kid is probably going to be late for school. Now there is some potential that your car has been replaced by a faster, better car. There's the potential that you will hit no traffic on the way to school, but these are things you've never seen happen before, so they're very unlikely, right? Where's this going? But I still have to behave as if I can get my kid to school within the limits of safety, of course. I can take the fastest route. I can try to be in the fastest lane on the highway. It's better for him to be 1 minute late than to be 10 minutes late or an hour late. And so the goal stays the same because you recognize that there is value in meeting that goal, and you still have to do your... God, this is dumb. What this analogy was stupid. I didn't get it. Because in my mind, it's better for the kid to be 10 minutes late and you still arrive alive to the goal. She's talking about speed. That's our problem is speed. It's better be in the fast lane, just barreling down at 80 miles an hour with your kid strapped in the back screaming, slow down, mommy, slow down. But we've got to get to school on time. That's the problem. That kind of thinking is the ridiculous thinking that got us into this mess in the first place. Lunatics. Kiddo, we're going to be 10 minutes late. But we're going to take the slow lane and have a good time listening to, songs on the radio, maybe talking about stuff. You might be 10 minutes late, but we're going to get there alive. You didn't think of that one? I don't know. Anyways, it's weird. It's a weird analogy. This is the weirdest analogy. She's making two good points. First, with climate change, every 1/10 of a degree matters. The lower we end up, the better. This is all conceptual. It's completely just randomly conceptual crap. The lower we end up, the better. And second, if you want to achieve something big, you start with an ambitious goal. But I think that 1.5C, like staying alive, I have an ambitious goal. It's called staying alive. It's not called not plunging the earth into chaos and death because we wanted to live in a particular way. I'm very I don't feel good about I don't feel good about our chances. Given this conversation that this whole article is stating, I don't feel good about our chances at all because nothing in this article makes any sense anymore. She's making two good points. First, with climate change, every 1/10 of a degree matters. The lower we end up, the better. Okay. Second, if you want to achieve something big, you start with an ambition. Okay. What's the goal again? Can somebody explain to me the goal? Are we talking theoretically like 1.5 and net zeros and stuff like that? And we're not talking about, nobody's talking about, well, how are human beings going to live on the planet without all of the fossil fuels we consume, millions of barrels of fossil fuels we consume every single day? Nobody's actually talking about that goal right there. How do human beings exist on the planet without the millions of barrels of fossil fuels we consume every single day that keep 8 billion people alive? We are not having that conversation. We're not even talking about that question. That is the goal. That's the goal. But somebody's talking about 1.5 and net zero and maybe we ambitious climate targets. You're all fired. You're all no. You're all fired. What authority do I have? I don't know. None whatsoever. But I want to fire all these people. There's something else going on too. Guess what? You know who's going to do the firing? Nature. Nature is going to fire a bunch of humans pretty soon. You're fired. You guys, I really tried. I gave you a lot of chances. This really pains me, but I'm going to have to let you go. That's what's going to happen. That's exactly what's going to happen. And people are going to be like, but. Well, anyways, I think 1.5C has moved from ambitious goal to magical thinking. The scientists are telling themselves a story to stave off despair. Excuse me. This is a hardcore climate change channel. So if you don't want the real, the raw and the dirty, I apologize, but that's what this is. And maybe I'll do another video, not today, but in the future we'll talk about some other things too. Because it's fine to take sometimes you got to take a break from all this. If my son and his friends think the coral reefs will be okay, the reefs are doomed. But if he knows the truth, maybe he'll become a biologist who tries to save them. That's what he's saying. I do it too. The other day I was telling my 13-year-old son about the near certain death of most of the world's coral reefs when his eyes welled with tears. So I stopped. I told him that the coral reefs will be okay, even though I know that's not true, and I know lying is the wrong thing to do. The facts of the climate crisis are truly terrifying. The reality of what we're facing keeps me up at night. But I don't think staving off the very warranted despair is helping anybody. So I'm here to tell climate scientists and my fellow climate journalists to knock it off. I think climate scientists and journalists are underestimating people. If you treat people like children who can't handle the truth, they will behave like children. And that's how, I say that all the time. They don't tell you the truth because they don't want to scare the children. And by children, I mean people. I mean adults. They don't want to scare the children because the children are actually the adults who don't want to hear the truth. Children are probably way better at hearing the truth than adults are. I love children for telling the truth and receiving the truth in ways that are just like fearless. It's the adults that have the problem with the truth. Probably because, we're more in touch with our mortality. Maybe that might be it. I'm pretty in touch with my mortality. Yeah, it's what it is. Like teenagers actually wasting time like it's an endless supply. Yes, there are plenty of people who prefer denial, but I bet just as many want the truth, painful as it is. We deserve a shot at rising to the occasion. Climate experts talk a lot about cathedral thinking. It's the idea of working towards long-term goals like a medieval cathedral. I never heard about this. Really, climate experts talk a lot about cathedral thinking. Have you guys ever heard this? Really? They talk a lot about it? I've never heard it. I've heard a lot of climate experts on a lot of things. I've never heard once uttering of the phrase cathedral thinking. So whatever that's about. Well, let's read what it is about. It's the idea of working towards long-term goals like a medieval cathedral. These goals require efficient, shared commitment and decades, even centuries of planning. The planners and builders don't live to see the end product, but the future generations reap the rewards. Oh. Yeah. All right, I got it. It's an inspiring idea, something maybe only humans could divine, but there's the thing. Cathedral thinking also requires a firm grasp of facts. Cathedral built on fantasy won't stand for long. A cathedral built on a faulty foundation or a too fast won't stand for long. If my son and his friends think the coral reefs will be okay, the reefs are doomed. If he knows the truth, maybe he'll become a biologist who tries to save them. Why would a biologist, when people know what they're up against, many will be sad. I'm sad, but then they can prepare. Okay. I don't know. I feel a little bit, I feel tired after reading that. All right, guys. I'm going to check in and see if I got any messages, donations, and whatnot. And thank you to everyone who donates to the channel. I do appreciate you. You know who you are. And that's, all y'all. All y'all contribute, and thank you. And I will be back tomorrow. The regular time of 12 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. And until next time, peace.